When the mercury drops to 40 below, the air itself becomes a predator, stealing the heat from your lungs and the life from your limbs. For the human body, this is a zero-sum game. Every movement costs energy. Every breath is a calorie burn that might never be replaced. To look at this frozen abyss and see a home requires a level of engineering brilliance that modern society has largely forgotten. Thousands of years ago, the indigenous masters of this continent didn't just endure the cold, they weaponized the very laws of nature to thrive within it. Tonight, we go inside the ultimate survival machine. This is the story of the master hunters, the chemists of the hearth, and the architects of the ice. Survival begins with the kill, and the kill begins with an understanding of high-tension physics. We see the hunter, a silent ghost among the frosted hemlocks. He carries a composite bow, a device that predates the industrial engine but operates on the same principles of stored energy. This is not a simple piece of bent wood. To withstand the brittle dryness of a northern winter, the bow is a laminated masterpiece. Layers of seasoned yew or hickory are reinforced with animal sinew, shredded tendons from the legs of a deer. Using an adhesive made from boiled sturgeon air bladders or hide glue, the sinew is applied to the back of the bow. As it dries, it contracts, pulling the wood into a natural reflex. When the hunter draws the string, he isn't just bending wood, he is loading a high-pressure spring. This synergy of organic materials allows the bow to remain flexible in sub-zero temperatures, where ordinary wood would simply snap like a dry twig. But an engine is useless without a spark. We move into the dim light of the workshop, where the art of lithic technology is being practiced. This is the science of fracture mechanics. The craftsman selects a core of obsidian, volcanic glass, or high-grade chert. He isn't banging rocks, he is reading the molecular structure of the stone. With a precise strike from an antler hammer, he initiates a conchoidal fracture, sending a shock wave through the stone that peels off a blade. Through a process called pressure flaking, using a sharpened bone tool, he meticulously shapes the edges. The result is an arrowhead that is molecularly thin. While a modern steel knife has an edge that is jagged under a microscope, an obsidian blade tapers down to a single atom. It doesn't just cut, it parts the cells of the prey. This level of lethality is a biological necessity. In the winter, you cannot afford a long pursuit. The arrow must deliver a massive, immediate drop in blood pressure, ensuring the animal falls within sight of the hunter before the tracks are buried by a sudden squall. To find the prey, you must first become a student of animal psychology. The winter landscape is a manuscript, and the snow is the ink. Every track, every broken branch, every tuft of hair caught on a briar tells a story of energy expenditure. The hunter knows that a heavy elk will seek the snow shadows, the areas beneath massive conifers where the canopy has intercepted the snowfall, leaving the ground shallow and easy to traverse. He understands the thermal pockets of the valleys, where the cold air sinks and the animals huddle to preserve their core temperature. To navigate this white maze, he uses one of humanity's greatest inventions, the snowshoe. This is a triumph of weight distribution and surface tension. By weaving a lattice of rawhide, known as babiche, across a frame of steam-bent ash, the hunter creates a platform that triples the surface area of his footprint. In the deep powder, an elk weighing 700 pounds sinks to its belly, its heart racing as it struggles to move. But the hunter, lightened by his engineering, glides across the top of the crust. He has effectively manipulated the physics of pressure per square inch, turning the very snow that traps his prey into a highway for his survival. But the human is not the only architect of the hunt. We see the gray wolf, the hunter's greatest rival and most respected professor. For the indigenous peoples, the wolf was a living blueprint for social cooperation. They observed how the pack functioned as a single organism, how they used the wind to mask their scent, and how they drove the herds toward the icy edges of frozen rivers where the footing is treacherous. The humans mirrored these tactics. This wasn't a war against nature, it was a total immersion into its rhythms. They learn to hunt in shifts, to use vocalizations to coordinate movement across miles of forest, and to respect the transfer of life. When the blood hits the ice, it is viewed as a sacred transaction, the energy of the animal moving into the DNA of the village. Sometimes survival requires stepping into the mouth of death. The bear hunt is the most dangerous operation in the winter repertoire. Entering a stone-lined den in the middle of a blizzard is a gamble against a half-ton of muscle and claws. But the reward is worth the risk. We see the warriors approaching the cave, their spears tipped with translucent stone. This is not just a search for meat, it is a search for liquid gold, fat. In the frozen world, fat is the ultimate currency. It is the densest source of fuel available to the human body, providing 9 calories per gram compared to the 4 calories found in protein. Without fat, the human brain cannot regulate temperature and the heart will eventually seize. A successful bear hunt provides more than just food. The hide, thick with winter fur, becomes the primary insulation for the village homes. The bones are harvested for industry. The jawbones become scrapers, the ribs become needles, and the massive leg bones become the hafts for hoes and axes. Every part of the animal is a component in a larger industrial machine. The fat is rendered down in birch bark containers using stone boiling, dropping fire-heated rocks into water to melt the tallow without burning it. This rendered oil provides light for the longhouses during the 20-hour nights of December, and it serves as the base for the most important chemical invention in human history, pemmican. Inside the lodge, the air is thick with the scent of wood smoke and curing leather. This is the chemical laboratory of the North. Here, we witness the art of brain tanning. It is a biological curiosity of nature that almost every animal carries exactly enough lecithin in its own brain to tan its own hide. The women of the village understand this chemistry perfectly. They rub the emulsified brain matter into the raw skin, breaking down the stiff fibers and replacing the water with oil. This is followed by a grueling process of rhythmic stretching and smoking. The smoke from the fire contains formaldehyde and other tannins that chemically bond with the leather, making it permanently soft, water-resistant, and rot-proof. Every stitch of their clothing, made with sinew thread that shrinks when wet to tighten the seam, is an engineered defense against the elements. But the true masterpiece of their food science is the production of pemmican. This is the original superfood, a biological battery designed to outlast the longest winter. They take the lean meat of the elk or bison, dry it until it is brittle, and pound it into a fine powder. This powder is mixed in a 1-to-1 ratio with the rendered animal fat and enriched with the concentrated sugars and antioxidants of dried Saskatoon berries or cranberries. The result is a nutrient-dense brick that will not spoil for years. Because it is pre-cooked and stable at any temperature, a small handful of pemmican can provide enough energy for a hunter to trek 30 miles through a blizzard. It is a masterpiece of nutritional engineering that allowed these civilizations to maintain a strategic reserve of energy that could be transported anywhere. As the aurora borealis, the spirits of the ancestors, dances in neon greens and purples across the midnight sky, the village sleeps in security. The granaries are full, the chemistry of the hide is mastered, and the technology of the bow is silent. But this prosperity was governed by a law that was as rigid as the ice, the law of the 7 generations. They understood that they were not the owners of this frozen kingdom, but its stewards. They monitored the health of the herds with the precision of modern biologists. They knew that if they took too many breeding females, the forest would be empty in a decade. They practiced a form of reciprocal ecology, taking only what was offered and ensuring that the water remained pure and the soil remained rich. Every decision made at the council fire was weighed against its impact on the children who would be born 200 years in the future. They didn't just farm and hunt for today, they engineered a future. Today, as we look back at these masters of the North, we often see a primitive struggle, but the truth is far more humbling. We are looking at a pinnacle of human ingenuity. these people turned a landscape of death into a garden of life. They didn't have steel, but they had a mastery of materials. They didn't have computers, but they had an intimate knowledge of the biological software of their world. Their legacy is not just found in the artifacts of the past. It is a blueprint for our survival in a changing world. They proved that the greatest technology we possess is not the machines we build, but our ability to observe, to respect, and to work in harmony with the natural laws that govern us all. From the high mesas to the river valleys, the winter continues its ancient cycle. The fires still burn in the memory of the soil. And the roots of our collective survival are still there, buried beneath the ice, waiting for us to remember the science of the wild.